What's up, Hello Love family? We are back with another episode of the Hello Love podcast. I am your host, Coach Cody, and I know y'all been waiting for this episode. I'm able to sit down with my sister, who is the only person I know who plays the nail game. Actually, nail tech by default, y'all. We want to make sure we get a close up of the nail game. B. Ray in the building.
Hello. I'm so glad to be here.
I love it. She is here live in the flesh, y'all. We got so much to talk about. I'm gonna cross my legs like a professional.
Oh God.
We got so much to talk about. So let's talk about who is Brittany Ray? Like, where did this whole who is this B. Ray?
Well, I am originally from St. Louis, Missouri. I grew up in the heart of the city. Then we moved to the suburbs when I was about 5, maybe 6. I come from, your typical like Black family, a little chaotic. My father was a police officer. Really, most of my father's side was in law enforcement before I was born into my adolescence. I moved to Atlanta when I was 9, thank God. And it really shaped me. I'm grateful to, have stepped away from St. Louis. Because at the time it was getting crazy. Like the crime, it's slow. Really nothing much there. So moving here, to Atlanta, just seeing the culture, that it was even then in 98. I mean, I had a ball, to be honest. So my mother actually got an opportunity to work with Rolling Out magazine when they first launched in 98 as a journalist. So me and my sister would travel with her to interview, prestige Atlanta celebrities and things. I was into dance and art forever, really. I started acting and dancing, like competing against the other city kids here in Atlanta. What else? Grew up in Conyers.
C-Town.
So
See, a lot of people don't know that about B. Ray here, that she grew up in the beautiful city of Conyers, Georgia. No, stop.
Yeah, for real. And again, I'm grateful for that. Like, just like I said, stepping away, because we did live in Lithonia for like 2 years. Like when we first moved to Atlanta, went to Farrington Elementary, in Lithonia, and what an experience, Jesus! And then that shift to Conyers was just what I needed. The education was different. We were on land, you know what I'm saying? I'm a country girl, so I had a ball. So yeah, very artsy fartsy girl. Always loved to draw. Always, doing something musically, artistically, you know. And I am a mother of 3. I have a 15-year-old son, Bryson. He just turned 15 literally yesterday. And my baby girl, my little diva lady, she's 8. Okay.
The one and only Ross the boss.
Ross the boss. And she's 8 going on 80. But yeah, and then my youngest, he'll be 7 in May. He's my Taurus twin. We be clashing. You know.
I know. They be
Hilarious. So no, girl, this girl, you gotta stay out of frame. Wait your turn. You see what I mean?
Yeah, you gotta you finna shine in a minute. You finna shine in a little bit.
So yeah, I'm having fun. Like, these kids keep me like busy, thriving. This one right here, I always call her grandma. She kind of holds me accountable. I'm a licensed cosmetologist. I do hair. I've been licensed since 2012. And now I'm rebranding myself, and I've stepped into tape-ins, the culture and the technology of tape-ins and installs. And that's something that is new to me, for me, because I've only kind of dabbled in color cut and natural hair, which I'm still very much like an advocate for, because the hair got to be healthy. You can't be walking around with scragglies.
Yeah, you can't do that. That's not a good look. We just wrapped up an episode with our barber, and let me just say, like, hair matters.
Yeah. Listen, self-care matters. Self-care. My daddy would always taught me, and it's cliche, I guess. When you look good, you feel good, but when you step out, you gotta be serious about your appearance.
Yes.
And I feel like, my father, his mom, my granny, best dressed. Like, that was just a culture for them. Like, even growing up, don't matter, being in the projects, it was like, you got to look like you mean business, when you step out into the world, because you never know what opportunities
might take place. You just never know.
I mean, I run into people that know me from maybe social media, by way of someone else. And I went in there one day looking like a crackhead in the Publix. And I felt terrible. Like, when I went home, like, ooh, I look crazy. I literally went in there for butter. I was trying to make my chicken. And
you got to stay right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you never know. We finna be famous out here in these streets. So
I know that's right.
We got to make sure that we
yes,
we keep it tight.
You have to. People do take you more serious, I feel like, when you're polished.
Yeah.
That comes with, I guess, growth too. People don't really take pride in that at a younger age, but I always had that thing, like that little something, that little style, or something to be remembered by. So yeah, I'm a bit of everything. I mean,
she's her, y'all. So one reason I wanted to kind of give you this platform is because I do believe that we all have different stories. I've met you through a mutual friend.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just crazy how God works, meeting people.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I want to do is I'm going to share my story, then I'm going to let you share yours. Like, our first encounter with meeting each other, I'm going to tell you, I remember we were at, got invited to Nina's birthday party at Rays on the River. Shout out to Rays on the River. That I think y'all closed down that location, if I'm not mistaken.
No,
I think that's the location they closed down. I know they had two of them, or they're getting ready to close, something like that. But I pulled up, and I remember I came into the restaurant, and you were sitting there, and I was like, "Wow, niggas actually be on time out there." I said, "Okay," and I noticed you because I had never met you, but I noticed you from social media. I was like, "I think that's Nina's best friend."
I remember that.
I was like, oh, okay. I don't remember speaking. I just like, well, I ain't gonna say nothing.
You did, and you walked in like, I'm that nigga.
I don't think I walked in like that. I was like, I don't know her. She don't know me. That might not even be her.
Oh yeah.
So that was my first initial entrance or intro to who you were. So I'm gonna let you, because I think everybody be having different stories. I don't know what your story is.
Yeah, I do. I remember that night. She used that hack that we using now. Like, if dinner reservations are made for 8:30, she tell everybody else 7:30, so be on time. That's crazy to me for somebody who always late. But anyway, so I was on time. I was on time, and I got out. I think you and I were the first ones there.
We were the first people that came in.
But I was just sitting there. I was on my phone, and I was just I always have like this social anxiety thing. Like, I don't know, even still, I'll just be like, it's weird. So I had my phone, and you walked in. I believe you had flowers in your hand. Something was in your hand. Oh, a card?
It must have been a card, because I didn't have no flowers.
Oh, okay. So yeah, and you walked in. I was like, oh, okay, he's suave. Who was this? I thought she was the date. Okay. I thought you was a date. I was like, oh, he's so handsome. But I didn't know who you were either. But you look familiar.
Yeah.
So it probably was Instagram. Shout out to Instagram.
Just bringing so many people together.
Literally.
Instagram.
Yeah, and I was like, this guy looks familiar. And then eventually, I believe she introduced everyone at the table.
At the table, I believe it was, yep.
I was like, oh, Dakota. And I was like already on one, like goofy. I think I had a drink. I think I definitely ordered a cocktail. And, you know, it was just organic. Like your spirit is just, I'm sure you hear this all the time, but you're just so, like genuine. And that probably sounds cliche, but you was very like kind of reserved. But Nina was like, oh, he crazy.
Because I didn't know these people, okay? And I knew something had to be wrong with them if they was friends with Nina. Like I knew something wasn't clicking if they were friends with Nina. Because I mean, something wrong with all of us.
Yes, everyone.
Everybody got problems.
Everybody.
We all got problems. You know what I'm saying?
We had a blast though.
But yeah, that was a great time. And ever since then, we've been really, really great friends. Met this beautiful young carpet roller on the floor here. Ross, the boss, through you.
My baby.
And what I kind of want to dig in, dive into is like this is all about you guys, your story. Me and my barber got into a deep conversation. This thing it's supposed to be 30 minutes. It was an hour conversation. I said, "Hey, Barbara, we gotta want to back in, okay?"
That's good.
But it was great, powerful testimony. So I want to talk about, and maybe we're gonna kind of backtrack.
Okay.
Here, you recently made a decision and joined Generation Hope Church, my church. Shout out to Pastor Elise Buckner and Apostle Dwight Buckner. Amazing things happening there. I mean, without them, I don't think this would even be possible. That was something that just was spoken over me. A place where you don't just hear people talking about growth. You experience the growth. You know what I mean? And it's not like I've been here 8 years and God move. It's like boom, 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 sudden. What was something in that that brought you into the place where you are now, where it was like, this is where I need to be? Did you know that this was just the place, or or were you like, I just need to I need a church home,
Oh, my heart was yearning for it. Like, I feel like what I was going through, because I went through a divorce. I lost my dad in 2019 due to pancreatic cancer. And that was like my everything, right? Before children, of course, but we were best friends. And I think my youngest son was born the year before he passed. So it was just like, back to back to back, just traumatic things happen. Then this divorce, a separating. So it was just a lot that was transpiring, in my personal life. And I felt like the focus wasn't there on God in my spiritual life. And my grandfather, my dad's dad, was actually a pastor. And I know growing up, my father had so much church hurt. And so he wasn't very religious, he didn't drag us to church. He didn't force it. You know what I'm saying? We didn't grow up. I knew who Jesus was in the presence of Jesus because both of my grandmothers were spiritual.
Okay.
But like I said, we weren't, how usually families are just like, get up every morning, or Wednesday Bible study. And I ended up going to New Birth later on in life. We went to New Birth out there in Jonesboro, I think at the time. It was New Birth South. And it was too much going on. It was just a lot going on up in there.
Them Atlanta churches.
It was like a reality show type stuff going on. And I know that my dad was like, he tried it. And then we were like, nope. So it was back to like just living life without church and having a presence. So with everything that was transpiring, you invited us, or Nina, it was probably Nina, our mutual friend invited us. And then we went. I think all of us went one night. That was my first time going. Didn't I have the kids?
No, I think it was just you and Nina. Y'all came to a Bible study, I think it was.
Okay. Yeah. And I just felt like this airy, just, it feels like genuine, like family. It don't feel heavy and judgy,
Yeah.
or, you know that feeling
What
like,
does
oh,
it feel from my personal experience? It doesn't feel forced. You know what I
right,
mean? Like, one thing I can say about them is I think they'll push you into what you're supposed to be doing, but they don't force you into it. You know what I'm
right.
saying? And it's just a genuine, uh, I guess, a genuine spirit there is what
Yeah,
I
for
call it.
sure.
And I think it's just whatever you need. You need love, you need hugs, you need whatever. It's just there.
For sure.
It's just
And
there.
and I noticed that too, like they kind of like instill more so when you affirm you, like they see your gifts, like for you, for instance, they saw the gift in you, and then they just enhanced it with affirming you, like this
Yeah.
is you doing it, like so. Someone actually approached me about social media, was it editing? Because I mentioned that when I joined the church that night. I can't remember who that was. And he was like, "Are you interested in creating content for the church?" And I was just like, "Yeah." Because I do it every day anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, but the day that I joined, I couldn't hold it in. Like I couldn't like not do it. I really wanted to do it the Sunday before. And I had missed the baptism
Yeah.
scheduling or something like that. But it was just in me. It was on my heart. And I was like, yeah, this is the place for me, because it has been so long, number one, since I had a church home. And then it's important for me to show my kids, that structure, and teach them like you need to have a foundation, and the foundation is Jesus all across the board. So, it's okay. We don't have to go every single day, every single Wednesday,
Mm-hmm.
Sunday, or what have you. But I want you to understand the discipline behind it. I feel like going to church, it kind of gives you a sense of discipline. And I've seen that in them too, even at
Okay.
home. So, yeah, I love y'all. And shout out to Generation of Hope Church.
Yes, ma'am. Generation Hope Church. Hope lives here, y'all.
Hope lives there.
um, like I said, it's so much we can talk about, and I think we talk so much that it's kind of like we. But introducing you to, I guess, my support base, you
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean, and who Brittany is. Like we oftentimes talk about, the things that you have went through, as far as being experienced and being a single mom for some time,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean, and how did that uh transition over to getting to a place of trusting another man and getting married and starting a family and kind of having a blended family. Like, how is that for
Ooh.
you? And uh, I guess how does that look for you even now? You know what I mean? How is the process of that?
Wow. Well, so remember I mentioned, this, like, my dad, really both of my parents. I lived with my parents, when my son was born. So moved back home with them. My son he was new, new. And my dad was just like, you can do this, you know, because at first I didn't know what to do because, his father, biological father, and I were never a thing. I always knew we wouldn't be. I didn't want it. I was having a time. I had two jobs. I was balling. I was shout out to Glass Night Chicken and Waffles over there in Lathonia's gone now. But that was a foundation for me, being in the food industry so young at 17. That was
Mm-hmm.
when I got my first job. Begged and begged and begged my daddy to get a job. But anyway, um, And you know, when you're making that fast money, whether you're a bartender, whether you're a server or whatnot, the money is addicting because it's just, I mean,
Just
oh my God,
the
constantly.
things I wish I knew. If I knew things now that I knew then, like when it came to money, I would be
Yo, and you talking about back then, the culture was like, a little scrappy, crunk. What's their name? Showing
the
my age.
showing my age too because I forgot their name.
Roscoe Dash and them, like it was like that era,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And the dancers and you know, people were coming in to dine in with us and they were just dropping. They would come in and get like a moet at like 12 o'clock on a Sunday because we do brunch.
yeah.
We would do brunch from like 12 to 2. But I worked and I was always working. I was in college as well. And I didn't know what I was going to do. So I was living with my parents. My father really supported me, you know, and my son. And he built me up like you can do this, like you good. It's single mamas and blended families in our family of generations, and
Right.
you got this shit, you know. And I did it. I mean, I guess it was a little easier, obviously, because I had my father's, you know, presence and his support. So if when I started cosmetology school, actually, he was always with my dad, you know, running errands with him, whether he was working from home, which at the time he was working for IBM as a computer engineer. So it was kind of easy for me as far as having a support system to watch
Yeah.
him and stuff. Uh, Fast forward, I met my ex-husband in 2014 out in the city. I wasn't supposed to be out. I was literally single and chilling. Like I'm a homebody. I'm still like this. I just be at home. I just have my little wine and I'm vibing.
I think a lot of people see that through your social media page and stuff.
Yeah, I really don't. I don't care to be out constantly.
Got you.
So I was at home. One of my best friends called me, and she was like, "Girl, you need to get out of the house." So long story short, we got out. I was like, "Oh God." Same for him, because when we met, it was funny because he was like, I wasn't even supposed to come out today, but my roommate got a new job, and he invited me out for a drink. We went to the dive bar. Remember the dive bar in Buckhead? Okay, that's where we met. And he didn't seem like an outer either, like a goer outer type of dude either. Anyway, when I met him, and he was persistent. He was very much like, I want you to be my wife. And he showed me, you know, even with Bryson, it was comfortable. We, you know, would go on our date nights. I mean, we were inseparable from the day we met. I mean, literally. I don't think, oh, and he, of course, he had his own place. I had my own place. So that was just a breath of fresh air for me. Like, soon we know he can come over, vice versa, or we'll go hang out, go to the movies or whatnot. And he proposed within like 4 months. And I was just like, what?
See, I didn't know this story, y'all. I didn't know it was
Oh, I
that quick.
thought,
I didn't know it was
oh,
that quick.
well,
So I don't have no wine, but I guess I'll sip my
oh,
water.
I wish we did. But yeah, he had proposed in 4 months. So, and I still believe it when a man, you know, growing up, I believe this and I still believe it now. I feel like men, it don't take y'all
Yeah,
35
it
years.
absolutely doesn't take sisters out there.
Mm-hmm.
I believe a man knows within 6 months
I believe so.
if he wants you to be his wife or not. He might not give you a ring. You know what I mean? If he
Yeah.
does, that
Mm-hmm.
brother ain't playing no games.
I know.
You know what
And
I mean?
it's the intent. I feel
It's
like
the
it's
intent.
the
Yeah.
intention, it's the action. It's not just I love you, or I'ma do. And that's what I started. That's what I experienced with him. And that's what made me say, you know what? I trust you. And I can see us, you know, having a family. So yeah. And we were engaged for about a year. We got married the following year and then pregnant with my boo butt. my baby girl Ross, and we were married for about 6 years before I filed for divorce. I'll get into that later, but it was not easy. Marriage is hard, and I feel like it really does take not even just not a village per se, but it really matters who you have in your ear, who's in
Yeah.
your ear, and who's in your corner, and making sure that is they love you genuinely. So that was a struggle. My parents gave him hell. They gave me hell. It was just not what we expected it to be. They made it a lot more difficult. And I can understand having emotion and feeling, behind like certain things. And there are some things that I agreed with my father about at the time. But it's the way that you say things. It's the way that you articulate things that may make people uncomfortable. But that wasn't why we divorced. Don't have to get into that too much, but I'll just say that emotional intelligence is the most important characteristic, or what is that? I care. Some people just got it and some people don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Either you're raised in that awareness of other people's emotions and how to, maneuver. But yeah, and I just was like going through too much. Then my daddy got sick. I was grieving, postpartum depression. It was just one thing after another. Um, so fast forward, that was a difficult transition. We did it. I did it. I was back to myself. I found myself again, and I was just having a time. Like, I was having a time just hanging out and being with y'all, being with my close friends. I actually took Slayology's taping class the year of my divorce because I just wanted to like learn something new in the hair industry. Because I knew I was going to jump back in it and rebrand. Because I don't like corporate. Corporate is depressing, especially as a Black woman. It's tough to not to thrive per se, but you got to prove yourself like
Yeah.
1,000 times
Yeah.
more than the average, person there. So, yeah, I became a licensed claims adjuster, a home owner claims adjuster, and I was proud of that. But I knew that wasn't something that I really had a passion for doing. So, took that class. I was like, all right, this is going to be my bread and butter because number one, I still enjoy it, and I can provide for my children a lifestyle that they deserve, something that is going to put them in rooms with certain people,
Mm.
experiences. My daughter's loving beauty, nails, and all the things. Um, so yeah, but the blended family life was very difficult. It was work. It took a lot of work. It was a lot of ego, pride and all the things. And I'm a lover girl, so I feel like once your pride overcomes your love for me or for our family, I gotta go. I gotta dip.
Mm.
I can't do it. I can't do it. Um, and that's what made me, I guess, file and do that. And now we're better friends and co-parents for sure. Like the communication is better. We're working on it. I'm not perfect. And I'm crazy. And when I sense bull, I gotta call people on it. And that's just where I am. And not all the time, not at that particular time. Stop. You can't do that. We're filming. Um, it's hard for me to be or see manipulation, I guess, because I've experienced that with my mother for
Got you.
years as a kid and, even now. And so I can't help but that's my trigger. I'll just say that. I think that's my trigger. Um, but yeah, like it's tough. I would just say be surrounded by people who really mean you well. That they want to see you succeed. They'll also hold you accountable. Thank God for my god sister Taj. Like she's been in my life since I was 14, and she was more than a sister figure to me because she's very spiritual. She do not play. She actually introduced me to God at
Okay.
14. Like renewed my what is that? Like my love
Your
for
love,
God.
spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a word?
Yeah, and she did. And even to this day I can pick up the phone and call her if him and I or we're going through something. And she has this saying where she says, love the hell out of them. You have to, even with my mama, my parents, love the hell out of them. And don't change you because someone else is not doing something that you're expecting them to do. Or it's okay to be angry. It's okay to be yeah. It's okay to be angry and it's okay to have emotion and frustration, but you got to figure out how to be sane, stay sane, and keep your heart and your intentions right and pure.
Right. Kind of in a way, I always say, protect your peace at all costs.
Yes, very
You know
much.
what I mean? So if that means having to walk away or having to, because I'm all for you loving the hell out of you. But at the same time, I'm not going to go through hell to love you.
Thank you. Yes,
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I'm going to say, hey, all right, enough is enough.
Yep.
I'm going to go out. I haven't been married, so I can't say that I've ever experienced divorce. But I know what it's like to be in unhealthy or unsafe relationships.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I've seen it firsthand too. So I definitely understand that. We're talking about just the topic of divorce, and how does that look for you? You know what I mean? Like, is that like, was there a place where? Because I hear a lot of times people say, "Well, I stayed for kids," or "I stayed because I didn't want to be a
statistic." Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That played a role, for sure.
Was it like uh like a penny with a hole in it? Was it hopeful? Did you stay?
Penny with a hole in it.
Like
Yeah, I mean, because I feel like I was trying and trying, and I'm a talker, obviously, that's my ministry. Um, I love to go to the person that says they're protective of me, they love me, they want the best for me. So it's like I love having those conversations, even if it's a confrontation. All confrontation ain't bad.
Right.
So I saw myself just kind of initiating those conversations so much to where I was just suffering because I couldn't express myself. It was one of those things where if someone is dismissive, and they don't want to talk because they don't know how to articulate their emotions, then it turns into an argument, back and forth, and now it's name calling and things like that. So divorce was definitely scary. I sat in that car, the night that I made a decision. I cried and cried and cried myself to sleep. And my kids were so little, and I didn't want to do that. That's not something I think any woman wants to do. get on the computer, looking up researching attorneys. Like I was in Twilight Zone. I was like, what is this? What this ghetto? Legitimately. Because my parents weren't perfect. They were, like I said, very chaotic. However, my father and my mom actually got divorced for a year. That's what actually part of why we moved to Atlanta. It was a great opportunity. But my father fought for us. He fought for my mom, and he started doing things differently, and he was serious about her. And he was like, I want my girls. So I just longed for that. Like I longed for someone to be intentional about
to fight for you.
Yeah, to fight for me, but also see the value in having a family. Because when you out here, you just out here. You can get anything, and that's for us, that's for y'all, honestly, because nobody values marriage. I mean, people do. It's still very seldom to find, but I think when you have two totally different upbringings, that also makes it a difficult thing.
Yeah.
Seeing your dad treat your mom or vice versa, whatever happens, and then now you have this depiction of what it should be. And we all fall short. Like I said, I may go off, or I may say something, and nobody's gonna articulate something perfectly when you're angry and when you're passionate. But I think divorce is traumatic, honestly. That after losing my dad, that was pretty traumatic. The moving, the I can't see my babies every day. I go from being a stay-at-home mom. I was a stay-at-home mom for 4 years straight. And I lost myself. And when you feel underappreciated as well, it's just like now I'm catapulted back into corporate now because I ain't got no choice. I'm about to make this bread.
Yeah.
I gotta make this money.
Right.
And I feel like as women, if we don't have a choice, why do men? Why do, some men, they can be mediocre and they can just be like, we're supposed to settle. No.
Yeah.
No. Ladies, keep what you got going on, your licenses, even if you want to go back to school, like go back to school and learn something, get a certification, get a degree, like a trade, do something, because I'm a living testimony. When I say you never know when that person is going to just clock out or be emotionally unavailable, and it just be like, it's you. You got to do what you got to do.
Right.
So that's what I did. I wouldn't change it. And because if you just sit in something, you literally will your life just be passing you by.
Right.
Your life will pass you by. And you don't have a trade. You don't have any income for yourself. In case you got to make a move, God forbid something happens to your mate.
Mm-hmm.
So a man with a plan.
Amen. A man with a plan.
A plan, please. I need that.
She need that. A man with a plan. So do you think that you kind of put, because I know they always talk about like don't put all your eggs in one basket. Do you think that was a situation where you
definitely
put all your eggs in this one particular relationship?
Yeah.
That you, when time came back around, it kind of was damn.
Yeah. Are you talking about the first, like when we first got together and married, or now?
Or when it first happened?
Yes.
And you were kind of like, okay,
yeah,
now I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. Situation, like how do I maneuver from this? Because I know your story, and I don't know about many of y'all, but there was a reconciliation
Yes.
at one point where there was a let's try this again type
Mm-hmm.
situation.
Mm-hmm.
Like what transpired that made you want to try it again? Because I think it has to do with two parties where both of y'all said, I want to try this again.
Yeah.
I want to see if this is gonna work. You know.
Yeah. He began to reach out more, like asking me, what I needed. I don't think we ever fell out of love. I think, like I said, it was his pride, and it was just, I'm frustrated because I'm not being heard type stuff. So I don't think, and people out there who've gone through, you understand, like, even though you separate and you're divorced, that doesn't mean the love stops, you know? So when I moved out, he moved out, whatever. Um, he's understands I'm not just no average regular smegula degula too. So y'all know, when you know what I'm saying? So who's gonna want to miss out on that? This is not to brag or toot my own horn, but when it comes to any serious relationship I've
Mm-hmm.
had before that, to this day, I can be like, what's up? How you doing? Or they'd be like, what's up? How you doing? Checking up. Because I think at heart, I want the best for everybody, especially
Yeah.
myself. And I'm
Yeah.
put myself first, but I'm going to be good to you. Like, my
Mm-hmm.
intentions, I don't think I've ever done any dude dirty, honestly. But he saw how hurt I was, but also moving graciously with him. I was very gracious, even when we did the exchange with the kids or coming to pick, whoever up. And then it became this thing like, um, when me and the kids would be out, we'd go get ice cream, whatever. He'd be like, where y'all going? I'm gonna come meet you guys. I mean, I didn't invite you, but you can come or whatever. So, we would, because the kids, they were, like I said, they were so young and used to us always
Yeah.
being together, and us always being out doing something. And so I know what that feels like too, to have both parents and then you don't have it anymore, and
Mm.
that is traumatic. So that was really our intention behind that. But I can feel, we know, we just be knowing when y'all just be having that look in your eye, and then he would be like, I want my family. What you feel about it? And I remember when he brought the kids over one night, and we set up, it was no funny business, and we had wine, and we were just talking. And that's when he asked me, he was just like, I want my family back. What do you feel about that? Like, can we figure it out? I was like, well, we definitely got to go to some therapy. Because at that point, I had been in therapy for a few years. Like I said, when my father passed, I had to go to therapy. So I don't know his situation. I don't think that was what it was, like intentionally going to therapy to like really figure out how you can better yourself to put your family in a better position.
Mm.
That's so important, really, for both of us, both roles. Um, but he kind of strayed away from that for a while, and I didn't like that. And I said, well, if I do this again, I'm going to stick to the requirements and what I have already kind of started to heal from. I'm not trying to go back to hell with you.
Mm.
That's financially, that's me, mentally. I'm not doing that anymore. So you got to figure out how you are going to really step into that role of leadership. That's very important for me because I come from that.
Right.
I want to see more of a leader. That's a turn on too. You know what I'm saying? When you actually strategize, like, okay, give yourself a goal, 2-year to 5-year goal, and then it's like, okay, we want a house, we want this, and it's more than a house. It's like
Right. Right.
the financial or more so generational wealth and those memories that I remember making as a kid and create. We want that. Women crave that. Um, Especially if you come from it. So it's like, of course I want that. And I don't feel bad about it because I would start to feel bad in the marriage, you know? It's like, you want too much. Excuse me? Who doesn't? Why would you not want
Yeah.
too much? I don't like complacency. I can't stay stagnant somewhere, especially if it's I can't got no wiggle room. I can't do this, I can't do that. Um that's unfair to everybody involved. So, I just put down I put those boundaries down. It's still a process. It's not overnight, but I feel like if both parties are going
Want to
to
fight?
yeah,
Yeah.
gonna fight for it, it I've seen it work. I've seen it as a kid work, but I've Judge Mathis just damn reconciled with his wife.
Yeah. So it
Ain't
can
nothing out
work,
here.
you know. There's hope.
There is hope, but
Like
it's
a
all
penny
in
with a
work.
hole in it. No.
It
That's a hope from behind penny. You got some
yeah.
hope. You already ain't but 1 cent with a hole in you.
But the man makes I say the man makes a difference because you guys are the head, right?
Right, right,
We're the neck, we're the vessel. We are vessels to one another. But if we can't see where we going,
right. I oftentimes hear, and I've heard, I don't know who, and I'm not gonna say the pastor's name because I don't want to get nobody. I don't want nobody to tell me something you said that I said it and it wasn't me. But they said oftentimes a man doesn't necessarily really have to have a plan, but he has to be able to lead.
mm,
And I think there's a big difference between because I'll share this. I had a conversation with Apostle,
mm,
and he was just saying how he didn't really have much going for himself. Like he told Pastor Lisa, like, all I got is $1,000 in my bank account.
mm,
But she knew that he was a leader. Like
mm,
wherever with them little $1,000 that he was gonna go, he was going somewhere. And for me, it was a blessing because I know them personally. Like Pastor, shout out to Pastor Lisa. Like she don't play about no money. Like I remember me and he was joking one time. He was just knew how to lead.
yeah.
And I think that's what matters is as a man, you just have to know how to lead. And sometimes leading might mean just loving her. You know what I'm saying? Just listening to her,
Mm,
just understanding her. Like, I don't know how we're gonna pay this bill, but I'm gonna love on you
I
until
know that's
God
right.
brings the confirmation of what we need to do.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, so again, like I don't want to go so much to their story because they're gonna be on the podcast too, and they're gonna be able to share their personal stories.
And that's humility too, that he's
Yeah,
man, when you can as a
and
man,
honesty. You know what I'm saying?
yes,
Like, and that's what I took from that because he was like, whatever you do, man, you just got to be honest with him. If you ain't got but $5, tell her you
man,
got
what?
$5, and if she want to deal with you, cool. You know what I'm
That's all
saying?
I'm saying. That's all, and that's what I mean when I say, you know, we look to y'all for, of course, love and encouragement and all the things, but you get more from us when you are honest, like
Yeah.
when you
Hmm.
can say, hey, we should talk, let's talk about this, and let me figure out what's going on in your mind, like what are some things that you want to do, well,
Right.
or wait, let's just, like he said, I can't do this right now, but I'm gonna make it happen.
Right.
I'm
Right.
gonna make sure we good. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of
Hmm.
like, it's reassurance. We can't go without having some kind of dialogue and speaking to each other, doing our check-ins and things like that. You ain't got to be the richest man on earth, but when you can be real, when you can just be real and loving, to me, that's true masculinity.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you don't have to be, the most macho dude, you acting all hard. Like, no, like, I want to see that you're in fear of losing me. and
Right.
losing
Yeah.
this family, this foundation, because if you're going to be if pride is going to win every single time,
Right.
I would be a fool to stay
Mm-hmm.
behind you, because then I can't trust you to lead me.
Right. Right.
I literally stayed up till 3 a.m. with my god sister and her fiance. We were having the same conversation, because he was like, yeah, we're more logical. Men are more logical, financially, because they got to do this. We got all this pressure. And we were like, yeah, but we're just emotional. So say if I come to you like, baby, I feel unappreciated. I just want like to prioritize date night more. Like, what do you feel? Well, I got this bill I got paid at.
Yeah.
Well, you already knew the bill was coming up.
Yeah.
When the first hit, 31st, when 31st or 30th get
Yeah.
here.
You should have been prepared for it.
It
And even if you're not necessarily prepared, I think even for a man to trust his, I guess, manhood is, I'm gonna make this sacrifice, even though I know I got this $50 bill due. I'm gonna figure out how to take care of that $50 bill later on, but I'm gonna prioritize what my wife needs right now. You know what I mean? I think that's something that I've learned. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I guess I could say this because Valentine's Day will be over by the time this airs. Like, I was like, I got this little Valentine, you know what I'm saying? But I was like, then I gotta put all this information, all this money into this podcast, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna have no money to be no Valentine. Man, we'll worry about that. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. You know what I mean? So I think it's, again, bringing in or trusting the God in that man. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think bringing Pastor Lisa up, I think she trusted the God in him. Like, for him to, that's a humbling thing. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I got a little bit more than 1,000 in my bank account, but for me to tell go and tell the woman that I want to spend the rest of my life with, like, look, I ain't got but $1,000 in my bank account.
Right.
That had to be a humbling experience.
You push the pride aside.
Yeah.
We love that shit.
I'd be scared to say I'm like,
telling y'all,
I ain't got but $50 spare, so you better make sure you stay in this bracket until I get paid again.
And
you
see,
know what
that's
I mean?
all. That's all. I find the women that are like minded, I guess, like me, we really do appreciate that. We not trying to be. I don't really got.
Or even if you don't necessarily say what you have, like, humble yourself and be like, okay, I know she want the steak dinner. I'll take the chicken tenders and fries.
Right.
I don't necessarily have to tell her why I'm taking chicken tenders and fries, but it's just like, nah, look, you first.
You're gonna be, I was telling y'all. Oh my God.
She go.
Oh
We're
my.
gonna wrap this episode up right now.
Like, the moment I met you, really, after like those few encounters with you, and me and our mutual friend, or we man, I was like, this man right here, you gonna make an amazing husband, because you got it. You have the mentality. Number one, you have such, and I think the gift is, because I've met another man or a few men raised by their grandmother, and I know how y'all feel about. It's something about that. It's something about a older generation of a woman praying for you and covering you.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's all over you. But you have such a great mentality. You're emotional intelligent. Like, you're emotionally intelligent in the way that my kids, I know other kids, just kind of like gravitate towards your energy.
We were just, me and my barber talk about that, and that's why I brought him on, because I sit there in his chair and kids will just be running through the barbershop, Mr. BJ. And he cut their hair too, last week, but they just want to hang out at the barbershop. You know what I'm saying? And he was just saying how, for him, he knows that, and of course he has his own kids and everything, but he was like, going through what he went through in life, and he was raised by his mom and everything, and she was like a grandmother to him. She had a grandmotherly spirit, but it kind of taught him to be more in tune emotionally. He said he went to prison and one thing he learned there was not even on homo stuff. Like those men were like, "I love you, man.
Yeah.
I love you." You know what I'm saying? He was like that brought that out of him to come bring when he came back into the real world. Like, hey, I just show love. You know what I mean? So for me, you know, I think that's it. It's just like I want to show the emotional side of love. You know what I mean? And that's just me.
Yeah. You know? Yes. Hey, when you can show vulnerability and be, I know it's hard to be honest, of course, you know, all the time, so to speak. But you know, when you can be transparent with your person, you know, and it's an easy thing to do that, just to be vulnerable. And and not all the time is it easy, depending on the circumstances or the subject at hand. But that vulnerability is so stinking attractive, number one, but it pushes you to grow. Like it's just you're going to constantly grow when you can.
And I think it also creates a space of literally lost my train of thought right there. Of honesty, transparency. You know, I was having a conversation with somebody the other day, and I was just like, "Look, man, like, I know my value this season. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And like, I know what I bring to the table. I also know what I can't bring to the table. So I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, look, and I have learned that I'm gonna say this is my season. You know what I mean? And you know, song of everything attached to me wins. Ooh. If you attach to Dakota, you finna win. You understand? Everybody that's on this podcast this season, I'm not saying this because it's Dakota, but I'm saying this because I know where God is taking me.
Like, no, that's right.
I told my barber, like, bro, you finna win this season. You know what I'm saying? Brittany finna win. Ross gonna win.
Thank you.
You know? So, and I want to put this platform together so y'all can win. You know what I mean? So if you want to put it into a relationship status, like, look, I'm not saying I'm the best catch out here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I am a winner.
I know that's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I am a winner.
For sure. I heard that.
You know, and I think that brought a level of confidence to the person I was talking to, and they kind of was like, "Okay, nigga." Right then,
hey, real recognize real, man. Real recognize real.
Real recognize real.
Yeah.
Me and you, of course, me and you gonna have to do another episode too. But I want to talk about, and we're gonna touch on it briefly because I know we said you don't want to cry.
Okay.
But I want to talk about dealing with grief when it comes to losing a parent. You know what I mean? Like, how is that something that you have had to grow through in the process of that, to even somebody else who is dealing with that themselves? You know what I mean? I always say, you know, like, I think that's what's gonna call you to win this season, is you being transparent about your relationship with your dad, losing him, and putting it in book form for other women and people to like say, because it's a process, you know?
It is. I would say that, or you know, I guess him not being here well, even before he died. I will say this: my father was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. We are the most heavily demographic of men. Not only, you know, it's more so predominantly in Black men, statistically. And his daddy, my grandfather, also had pancreatic cancer, which is very scary, but it came out of nowhere, right? I was pregnant with my son I had just had my youngest son when he was diagnosed. It was around Thanksgiving 2018. And I saw it before I knew it. You know, before the what do you call it? Why am I having a trip up? But before he was diagnosed, I saw it all over him when I went to go visit out there in Conyers one night. And he was just heartbroken. I can see it. And I think the hardest thing, if you know, you know, too, is watching someone deteriorate, if you will, I guess, before your eyes. Because my daddy has all the chocolate like yourself, just handsome and just always doing something. You know, if he wasn't working, he was working in the yard. He was cooking. He was just a renaissance man. Like he liked to shop, golf. We was always together too, like growing up. So seeing him deteriorating, I can't help but to think about him older, the younger daddy.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
as a little girl, and we used to sit like this in the garage all the time. Like I could just talk to my dad for hours. So he passed right after my 30th birthday. And that's when my ex-husband and I were going through it. I feel like it was just, oh, it was tough. Was that our third, fourth year of marriage? And I felt like, damn, like I'm losing him right when I really need him the most.
Most. Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, and then, crazy about the kids. And he was just so excited, like to have more grandbabies and make more memories. So, I was really like, I'm still to this day, it's different. I'll just say it's different. I don't know how to explain it. I think my heart is broken, and it's different. Like waking up, driving the Conyers. I told you, I think I had texted you
Yeah.
the other day. And that was a very random thing. But we were my girlfriend and I were planning on getting together anyway. And I'm always hesitant to drive that direction because of
The
the memories.
memories.
And yeah, every restaurant I see, like, it's just landmarks. It's my childhood and my oldest son's childhood. So it's just like, dang, like, it really is hard. It takes a toll on you waking up. Some days you feel like shit. You don't want to get up. That's how it really was starting off for me. I was depressed. I just felt like I was dying.
Mm.
Literally. He died on a Saturday, sunny, June the 22nd, 2019. And I woke up, I looked like a freaking zombie. Technically he was still living, but he was in hospice and he was declining so bad that those days he was in hospice was like 2 days. Because my mom couldn't do it anymore. She didn't have the resources that she really needed to assist him like that in the house. So we had to, move him to hospice. And my daddy was very prideful man, very loving, but he was vain. Remember I told you so.
Mm.
When he started losing his hair and all that kind of stuff, and he got so small, that's when it just hit me like, oh my God, he's gonna die. I didn't want to say it out loud, but I knew he was gonna die. I just was like, damn, like this is real. And um when I saw him, because I got the news before I went out there that he had just passed, and I was in a shock, like I couldn't cry, finna cry right now. I was in a shock. So I didn't drive. Kevin drove. Thank God. We had the babies were teeny tiny. Deuce was probably like 8 months old,
Mm.
and Ross was like 2. They were like this too. Um, and I just was like, what? Yeah, it was like, your dad, he passed. And on the way out there, I was trying to prepare myself because I didn't know. I've never lost someone like
Yeah.
that. Like I've never lost Like, I've lost a family member, but I've never
No
lost
one that
anybody like
close.
that. And then for it to be my daddy, and I saw him, and he was at peace, but it wasn't real. Like, I couldn't even cry at the hospice. So, because I was, when you're in mommy mode, like, when you're in mommy mode, you just had a baby, you got to be mommy, and, my husband was supportive. Of course, he, did his thing, but it's just like losing my dad really taught me, cliche, but how very strong, like, I am.
You really are.
Yeah, because if I can lose my most favorite person in the world, then a divorce ain't nothing to me. That's what I was thinking when I did. When I was out of I was in my right mind, but I was just hurt. I was just, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, well, my daddy ain't here, and I got to deal with this shit every day.
Yeah.
But I didn't choose that. But this, I can choose it for myself, for my children. So I can have my mind, my right mind. Because if I continue doing what I'm doing and I'm just compromise after compromise, then this is not going to work.
Right.
So, but yeah, grief is, if you've lost a parent, like a parent, God forbid, a child, that's a lot of that is going on right now, but losing the person that you were with every day, you can talk to them, it don't matter what arguments y'all have, that nigga had my back,
Yeah.
that was my man. Like, it hurts, and I don't know. I only advice I can give is definitely self-care. Like, I became like a self advocate for that. Like, you talking about nails, feet done, I'm going to the spa. Like, I got to get out this house, because if I stay in this house, I'm going to cry. I'm going to be in the bed. I'm going to be what is that called? What is it called? Like, sulking, if you will.
Okay.
I'll be on the couch, like, just hours, and you look up and it's just like, oh, I got to cook dinner.
Yeah.
That's hard for 3 children. Like, so I really didn't take the time to grieve at first, because they were so little. These little youngest were so little. So I'm just now kind of really, like, in therapy. I'm opening up more about it.
Going through the actual grieving process.
Yeah. Talking to my brother, and I'm the baby of the family. So I have a older sister and brother, and my brother looks identical to my daddy. Chocolate, but he just tall. But he got my daddy, like, whole face, like 6'4". And we like this, we don't talk every day, but we've always been very close. And my Uncle Tanny, shout out to my Uncle Tanny, sweetheart. He's my daddy's oldest brother. So they're like Deuce and Ross age apart.
Okay.
That was his best friend. And I couldn't imagine them losing the other. So he took it very hard, but he checks on me. He's very intentional about whether it's Facebook or, FaceTime call or whatever. He's checking on me. And like I said, I be on the phone with my brother every now and again. Like, I gotta see your face.
Yeah.
Somebody who looks like him. They look all of them look alike. All the Ray side. So yeah, I say stay around, or if you can communicate with somebody who loves you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And knows that loved one. That's a natural thing. You're gonna draw nearer to people who were aware of their existence, so that helps me a lot too.
Yeah. Okay. We ain't gonna dive too much into it.
Okay.
But I did want to say, like, and I was just telling somebody else this, we were kind of talking about this in a previous episode, like, everything that you're going through is to help somebody else. You know what I mean? Like, me and you talk all the time about, like, how we don't just want to be these social media influencers.
Mm.
I think we kind of fell into it by default. You know what I mean? Like what you do through your social media, the beauty products, all this other stuff, and like I said, being able to even add uh your grieving process to that. You know what I'm saying? Whether that's a girl, it's 9 a.m. in the morning and I'm crying about my dad right now. You know what I'm saying? Just to share that with other people is starting to bring about not just awareness on the behalf of other people grieving, but awareness on the behalf of Brittany's just like me. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I can relate to her. So I say that to say, like, you know, keep doing what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, but allow your audience to see that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was talking to Apostle earlier, and he was just like, one reason I was able to get the followers like I had is because I was just honest and transparent about what I was going through. Like, my pastor here, nobody booking me to come speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nobody want me to speak. And people, and I think he wrote a book about the overlooked. And you know, he gonna of course talk about it more. But and I look at, you know, I'm a relationship driven. Most of the people at the church, I kind of build relationships with them by default, whether I want to talk to them every day or not. Cody, Minister Cody, like, and I'm learning their stories. Like, everybody there has experienced that that book overlooked, whether it was overlooked in your marriage, whether it was overlooked by your parents, whether it was overlooked in the industry. Everybody experienced that place of being overlooked. And I look at their marriage, but we all have kind of experienced that place of being overlooked.
Yeah.
But yeah, just keep doing your thing.
Thank you for that.
Know?
Because I actually have, you should see my drafts, like TikTok. Shout out to TikTok. Don't take it away again. Okay.
Don't do that, because y'all messed up my cap cut.
Period.
And I hadn't video and stuff I was supposed to be editing.
That the community of TikTok is like, I feel like that was a game changer. Like, I didn't take it serious until this year or last year, and I started to speak on grief. You should see my drafts, and I'm always hesitant to post because I feel like
it's time to. I was just telling somebody this today. Like, we're in a season where transparency and honesty, like, is really what people are thriving to. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna say I'm a Trump supporter, but if I take anything away from what that man has done, I'm like, if this man can do this, and Bill be president, why can't I become a millionaire? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I try to take the good out of everything. You know what I mean? Like, if he can do this with people hating on him and regardless of what he done, you know what I'm saying? I'm looking at it like, well, you know, that too plays a big part in it.
Yeah. But
I also look at the fact, like, he's probably one of the only white men I know that is hated by white folks too. You know what I'm saying?
I
so
feel
like,
you. Yeah.
Trump, are you sure you're not a nigga?
Yeah.
Because they hate you just as much as they hate us.
And he's a liar. But you're right. You're right. And I thank you for that. It's kind of confirmation for me because I'm like, because I don't mind people crying online, but a lot of people hate that shit. Like, they hate it. Like, oh, you get online and cry. And it happens. I've done it. I've recorded talking about him before, and I'll cry. Then I'll get self-conscious about posting it because it's like,
and so I'm gonna tell you, like my spiritual mama told me, like, she was telling me, like, I need to take the 30 days of prayer, those videos I did, and turn it into a book. Because she was like, you already have the book right there. All you gotta do is take one video and one chapter, next chapter. Like, so you can do that with your grieving videos. You might not have to post those, but that first video might be talking about this. Take that and turn it into a chapter. Take that other video and turn it into a chapter. And with Chat TPG out here, it's gonna be my best friend. Write me a book, okay?
Period. Like, okay, so, I am. I would love that. I started the grief book, actually. I did start the grief book.
Okay.
So I started it. And yeah, I'm going to actually just did like I got a content calendar. I think I had told you that.
Yeah.
I got this real cute little content calendar or whatever, and I was like, I'm gonna write my goals down, like, my short goals, split my short form content to, the long form, because I already have a camera, but I'm making excuses, but it's also like the grief, the depression, it's functional depression, but things just get in the way. These kids are so freaking busy. They're doing everything. So, but it's just a matter of me really sitting down and being intentional about blocking that time out. So I do appreciate that so much. So
yeah, let's get it, man. I want you to talk into that camera, your camera right there, and just let the people know how we can get in touch with B-Ray, what B-Ray has going on, what they can expect from B-Ray in 2025, and go.
Okay. Hey, y'all. So you can get me on Instagram at Hey It's B-Ray. Also, I believe it's the same on TikTok. So it's Hey It's B.Ray on both on both social media platforms. And also on YouTube, my name is Brittany Ray. So it's Brittany Ray, and then my tag or handle is B-Ray. That could change, but just type in Brittany Ray, and that's BRITTNIERAY. Okay? Because I know y'all be spelling Brittany different ways, but
anyway, different type of ways.
Yeah, mine is 2 T's and then an NIE, so it's Brittany. Okay, thank you. What else? Oh, my hair page. So, and I am going to be dropping a collection of raw tape-ins. It's raw Indian hair. So, and not just tape-ins, it's bundles, wefts, everything. Very soon. And I do have a hair page, and that is Hair by B-Ray on Instagram as well.
Hey, let's go.
What was
2025. I think that was it. Did I say that?
Oh, okay. I thought you asked something else.
Yeah. That's it, y'all. We are wrapping up another episode of the Hello Love Podcast, man. We went down into the club, and then God convicted us, and we came back. So I didn't have that. I don't know. I'm learning about glory as I go.